what's your standpoint on them? Do you like a full body? Do you like the separate like pants section, shirt section? Do you like them with a big old butt flap, big old red John Marstons? What are your long john opinions for warmth, comfort,
A long,
and style?
I think you can't do like the full long johns because yes, even if they do have a butt flap to like go to the washroom,
Mm.
it's it's it adds a level of difficulty that just doesn't need to be there. Like you can
uh,
get long john trousers and a shirt and it's just so much easier to like wear them underneath stuff and like I don't know, I just don't see the full long john as like an underneath piece of clothing that's necessary.
the
I would do the two pieces.
the butt flap is the worst invention in the history of clothing. First of all, there's only one reason for it. We all know what it's for, and it is for going to the bathroom.
Mm.
Um, like, there's nothing sexy about it. Don't even pretend.
There's
So,
nothing sexy about long johns, period.
Chelsea hates them. Chelsea would prefer that it was executable offense wearing them.
Yeah.
But
Long johns are, I think, the least sexy thing that you could wear.
But then are you opposed to like a thermal layer? Like is it just the one piece that
She
you
hates
hate?
Well, I feel like
But like
definitionally.
what if I'm going skiing?
Well, no, but
and I
that's,
need
that's
to
what
be
long johns
able-
are. They're not a style item.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're not a style. Like nobody has ever in the history of time that I've ever heard of said, "You know what looks really hot? Long johns."
Well,
And
yeah,
whoever says that just needs to stop. Like
Well,
their
that-
opinions
I
are
do
wrong.
want to. I do want to directly point out the fact that Ray, you do have a character in one of our campaigns off stream that wears long johns on the regular as a style
Yeah,
choice.
absolutely I do. Like my character's also weird as hell. So like
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Are you trying to give off the weird as hell energy?
they
yes.
have a
That
butt
is-
flap,
that
but
is
no
the
front flap.
Hmm.
only thing that I'm trying to give off with the long johns. Like they're practical for keeping you warm. Nothing else. If you wear long johns and people see them, like their opinion of you will go down, justifiably so, I think.
I don't want to be
And-
around people in my life who won't think of me more highly because I'm winter ready. You know?
But see,
I-
that's the difference. I
I
would
think-
say long johns don't need to be it. Like they're not good for sweating. Like
Nobody
a
should
thermal
ever-
layer.
Yeah.
Like throwing on a pair of like Under Armour like thermal leggings for outdoor winter activities, they wick away the sweat. Like long johns don't. They're like, ooh, let's absorb all of that and just directly apply it to your skin. You know?
Well,
Yeah.
of all
The
things,
thing about
this
long
is
johns, the thing about long johns is like somebody shouldn't see you wearing it. You can be wearing it, and
Yeah.
and it is a functional piece of clothing.
Yeah.
But I don't think that anybody should see you wearing it.
you don't
know?
like go outside and go to the store in them.
Exactly.
Anyways, I don't have a good segue for this, but clipboard.
Yeah, no, like I've decided I hate this conversation now. I would like to move on. I don't know what came over me.
There's always room for error. Heart failures, miscommunications, poor procedure, and bad ideas. Confidence and swagger can only take you so far. There's no making deals with the truth, and when lies and secrets pervade, when nobody explains or takes blame, the results become bloody mysteries. Welcome to Bloodwine. So welcome back.
What? I keep forgetting that there isn't like a musical number
Yeah, I gotta
at the
put
beginning of
Yeah,
our...
I mean,
I gotta
we
put
could
the whole
perform
song and
one.
dance together.
Yeah, we need a song and dance.
Oh, we're gonna go down to the Bloodwine town, and we're gonna learn about what makes all these folks frown. Whether it's the economy or a fascist regime, we're gonna have a real fun time, and we might even meme.
Man.
Yep, that's the one we're gonna do
beautiful.
forever. It's
That's
just,
beautiful.
Thanks.
we're gonna clip that. No editing, just
Mhm.
dead. No additional backing, just
Yeah.
like that.
I
Well-
gotta think these things through more.
We could write a song, have some sort of instrumental in the background.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but then I have to like record a thing, and I'm lazy, and I want to go to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys remember from the last time we were here?
There was a goblin. A gremlin little guy.
There was indeed a gremlin,
Right.
and we set a barn on fire.
Well, yeah,
Good on
that
him.
was us.
Well, the gremlin did.
Oh, we put it out.
Yeah.
Put it out.
It's a good strat, you know. Fire containment as opposed to lighting barns on fire, especially when they're attached
Yeah.
to an entire tree. High fire risk, you know.
Well,
So,
yeah.
you guys have an agreement to do 3 days on, 2 off, and you're on to. We're blurring time a little bit. It's a week later, but it's also like day 3, if that makes sense. Does it make sense, or does that not make sense? I don't know if it
I think
does.
that's-
It makes sense, but only because you sort of pitched this to me before. The first time you said this, I was so lost.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like a week plus 1 later.
Like there's like cartoon time where like we start at a session and like we have pacing
Yeah.
because we had a whole scene where you guys like negotiate with the boss and all that during I
Yeah.
think session 0 or session 1.
It's like how there's 104 days of summer vacation.
Mhm.
All comes along just to end it.
Yeah.
So you guys are on day 3, which is also session 3, which means you're gonna get 2 like sessions of not working, but you'll still be paid. That being said,
Cool.
every session that passes is an in-game week, so you consume 7 days supplies, 7 days rations. You get a week closer to paying rent. You're 3 weeks away right now, and as you guys all walk into Wanda's office for the day, you guys are, about to head off for dispatch. You're all paid your weekly salary, which, if I check my notes, where did I put that down? Yep, that's 1 gold, 6 silver, 2 copper.
Can I write that down? What do you say again? 1 gold, 6 silver, 2 copper?
Yep, exactly that.
Nice.
So, what are you guys up to in the garage? It's the early morning. You're waiting for dispatch orders. People are milling about. Some people in uniform, some people out.
Oh, let me just... I will let you know that just as soon as I get Spade's character sheet up. Here we go.
It's 420.
Mm-hmm. It's
Yeah,
funny
it is.
because I'm sitting here going, but I'm not even, like, excessively baked. I just, like, went to the doctor for, like, a back treatment and also happened to be a little bit tired today, so I'm just kind of grooving.
I considered getting high for this as like a 420 thing, but I know that when I'm high, I cannot like remember anything for longer than 10 or 15 seconds.
Mm.
Like after
Yeah.
10 or 15 seconds, I'd be like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
So I decided against it.
You'd be
Yeah,
Navi, our
I-
recap fairy, just being like, hey, what are our quest objectives?
Yeah, what's happening again? Where are we?
Hey! Hey, I didn't listen!
Alright, so the road rangers are off. They've got some time off. The cleanup crew have been dispatched to the town that you were at to follow up on the gremlin lead. Apparently, there was a robbery in a nearby house that the gremlin seems to have been a distraction for.
Oh, yeah.
The Firehouse
Right.
4 were going to be on dispatch, but they need to follow up pretty urgently on a risk of a fire elemental nearby. If those things go up and start getting active with this many trees around, big risk. So that's what they're dealing with. Which means that's you guys on dispatch.
Alright, well... And by dispatch you mean we sit around and wait for something to maybe happen?
Pretty much, yeah.
Alright. Well, Diesel is going to, is there, like, I feel like there's gotta be gym equipment somewhere around in the garage, you know? Like, whether it's a bunch of weights, like, just for doing arm curls, or, like, maybe one of those bars that you put across a door. Whatever it is, like, that's Diesel, that's what he's doing.
There
Partly 'cause
isn't
he's
as of
a
yet.
reg-
It would have to be something that you put together haphazardly. Otherwise, there isn't quite enough room. They would have to expand or switch things around. You might be able to talk to the people working there to change things up.
In that case, what Diesel is doing, is there, like, a big sort of wagon door that, like,
Oh yeah, like you can just go up to one of the bars and do pull-ups. You can do
Yeah.
push-ups and sit-ups and curls, and there's all kinds of
Like,
things. There's
yeah.
It's also a garage, so you can take like big metal bars for like smithing into custom wagon parts and just go hoop hoop hoop. Like you
He's
can make
got-
it work 100%. It's just like you don't have a gym. You're rocking it.
Yeah, I'm rocking it in. I got the tow cables out, and I'm doing the thing.
Yep.
You know, just being a real nuisance, basically. The strongest nuisance I know.
What's everybody else
Pretty
up
much
to
the
to
only
kill
good
time?
kind. I feel like I kind of want to just wander around. Like, we haven't done a lot of exploring yet of, like, the firehouse, and I think that would be kind of fun.
All right. Before we go down that, because it's it's exploration, we're gonna go boop 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 boop. What about Chicken Club?
I feel like I would probably be helping somewhere, like getting chores done or helping old ladies cross the street or something,
Oh yeah.
you know?
Walking along covered in chain and plate, just like
Yeah.
hunk hunk hunk.
Would
wagon.
would you feel any safer crossing the street than next to that person, Like,
I specifically remember being suspicious of the janitor as well, so I think I'm gonna look at that.
All right. So, Chicken, do you want to give me a roll? The what was I gonna say? The fleet manager is in the middle of like changing out your ox for different ox. Wouldn't help to have someone else. Sorry, wouldn't hurt.
What about-
I should
am
say,
I-
have someone else like moving a wagon.
rolling brawn?
You could, or you could get creative with it.
I'll do brawn.
All right.
Oh, that was a terrible roll.
I live in the constant agony of knowing that Will never make an intentional Adventures of Clutch Powers reference. But damn, that was close.
11.
11. You help wrangle the ox into place while the fleet manager sets up the yoke and gets things in place. You struggle a little bit, but things go fine. What's the roll for exercise?
How do I roll an
Oh,
exercise?
Oh, that's
Oh.
for Diesel.
Okay.
yeah, the roll for exercise. I made it, and I went to heal, and I hadn't set myself down from empowered from last session. So like, I'm all full up. I think it was somewhere around like a 22.
Okay, so you're just like sitting there frothing yourself up with jumping jacks.
Yeah, I rolled like really good, really well.
So, Todd, you are exploring the garage, killing some time. You're thinking about the janitor. You turn around and it's a bit of a horror sting. He's sitting there quietly dusting up a pile and putting it in the garage. Looks at you, gives you a nod, and then grabs a bin to move out to the alley. You are in the garage section. This is like a big boxy building. There's subdivisions that are made by, like bits of tarp or like cloth, big racks, and what's the word I'm looking for? Like shelving units that a whole bunch of old parts are put on.
Oh,
These-
like yeah, you go to the Jiffy Lube and you see they have a whole bunch of like motor oil
Yeah.
brands lined up.
And it's like it subdivides the room, but technically it's just a big open space. There's a bunch of garage doors for all of the different vehicles, and there's space, like there's a stable section for all of the pack animals. The janitor went outside and is going around. There's a couple of side doors that you could take. The office is kind of like in a little inset portion. You guys have a privy that's built in there. It goes down to like the Pine Watch septic down here. Or sewer, I should say, not septic. That's the wrong word. The way it's built, though, there's like one of those big, like, triangular roofs at kind of like a low slanted angle, and there's almost like a flat section on top of the office with a ladder that goes up to it. There's some crates and barrels and stuff like that up there. The offices aren't just Wanda's. It's offices for all 4 of the core crew. Where are you going?
Okay, I'm gonna pick an office. I'll start with Wanda's office, I guess. But I feel like I'm gonna get in trouble going in there. So I'm gonna knock on the door first. We'll knock. Let's see what happens. Is anybody in any of these offices?
Most of them should be here, actually. You expect most of them to be occupied this time of day.
Oh, crap. Okay, not going that way. Is there a janitor closet anywhere?
Yep, the janitor's closet is there. It's closed. Across from it, there isn't actually a door to the fleet manager's office. It's just like an additional storeroom, basically. The only ones that are like real and proper offices are Uncle's and Wanda's. Uncle's door is closed, and then like there's a sign on it that says like, "Come on in," you know, but like he's keeping it closed to keep things neat. Wanda's tactically got the slight door like open angle, you know what I mean?
Yes, I use that tactic myself. I'll go to the janitor area, because then I can just say like, I need a bucket or something, if he's in there. And then just never give back the bucket.
Well,
it's our bucket now.
Oh. I just talked us into a free bucket.
Exactly. Okay,
The door...
I'm not gonna knock, I'm just gonna open the door.
You reach towards the handle and slowly turn it, and it creaks open. There isn't a light on in here. There's no outside windows. This is like the darkest corner office you could get. Not even like a window out to the alley. It's all a lot like the garage, but much closer together. You can see mop handles. You think you see a figure, but it's just a training dummy, of all things. It's got a whole bunch of throwing knives embedded in it. There, you see what looks like a bucket full of red fluid until you realize it's just a bucket full of water that's near a bunch of other mops, but it's a red painted, like, steel galvanized bucket. You haven't been seen yet.
Do I notice anything, like, weird about anything in here?
I mean, there's a training dummy that's full of throwing knives.
Can I? But like, is that weird? Like, given the context of the job that we have, you know what I mean? Like we are a collective of like people that kill other things, you know? So I feel like the janitor having a dummy full of throwing knives isn't completely out of the ordinary, but like in the context of like our job and position and everything, is that weird? Is this something that I'm gonna want to write down?
Good question.
And I do like an understand.
Yeah, go for it.
Like, I will say, this is the sort of thing that I would expect to see in, like, a high school shop, but now that I'm thinking about it, that maybe says more about high school shop than about how innocent the janitor is.
Yeah.
Everyone knows you go to your You go to your high school guidance counselor if you intend on turning yourself in, but you go to the high school shop teacher if you need help dismembering the body.
Exactly.
Oh, I thought this was about weed at first. I wasn't really sure where you were going.
I got a 14 for understand.
Where knows the shop teacher is the best weed.
The 4 founders who have the offices used to be an adventuring party. They might still have their skills reasonably sharpened.
Ew.
Do you search further?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, you creep in a little bit further. You can see that there's some racks, some cabinets, a couple of different, chests piled on top of each other. In the back, it looks like there's a map.
Ooh, what's in the map?
It's tough to tell with the low light. You would need some sort of light source to look closer. The door is still kind of creaked open.
Can I take it?
It's pinned to the wall. It would be pretty conspicuous.
I still kind of want to take it.
I mean, they're your boss, not your mom.
I mean, that's the thing.
We do work here, so
Yeah, but I
don't
could just,
get us fired.
I could just say, oh, I needed to find a map and could not read it very well, so I wanted to check out the local area in a little bit of light. I'm so sorry that I maybe didn't ask your permission to touch your map.
I mean, all you would have to do is light a candle or a lantern or something.
Do I have any of those? I don't think so. Probably.
You probably would be able to find one.
Yeah, can I run around and see if I can find a candle?
You
Wait,
turn around.
Are there any candles in this room?
There's an oil lantern there that you're able to light.
Yes. Okay. I do that. What's on the map?
It looks like it's a map of the building itself.
Are there any secret tunnels?
Yeah. Are there little footprints that run around? And is our brother sleeping with a weird man named Peter?
You look closer. There's a bunch of little notations, symbols and numbers. There's an associated legend. Nothing jumps out at you immediately as being something secret, but there's hatches and grates and parts of the floor that are noted in different places. You would have to look a little bit closer at the map, spend a bit more time in this room. You've got a lantern lit, the door's ajar.
I'm going to continue to do a peruse. I'll leave the map alone for now. What else do we got in here? Now that I have a light, is there anything else I can see?
The mop and bucket are gone.
Pretty standard. Pretty standard.
I mean, they were here when you came in.
You haven't left the building.
Oh. They were in the room while I was in here?
Oh.
Did somebody just walk in behind me and I didn't notice? Huh.
Probably the janitor.
I mean,
just a janitor.
That's what I mean. He already knows I'm in here. I'm gonna go back to the map. If he didn't want me in here, he would have said, hey, get out. So...
Looking a bit closer at the map, you look at the legend and you're expecting something sinister or something secret, but sure enough, it's 1/4 inch steel grates, 1 foot in diameter, circular pattern, leads to lower drainage system, and then in the walls it's different sizing parameters and where to put different This is partially made of stone, and with these like old stone buildings, there's places you leave open in the sides if you ever want to make additions or a second floor. So some of those are noted down as well. Everything here, it's intricate, but all of it is actually just the building plan.
Perfect. I leave. I'm gonna put the light back where I found it. If I'm gonna rob his stuff, I'm gonna do it politely.
You quietly wink it out and close the door behind you. It's the late morning. What's everybody up to?
501! 502! Ugh. Ooh. It's always good to end on a nice round number.
You go thump. You exhale, and as you stand up, you see that there's a guard that, like, looks up at the sign, gets closer, seems to be holding, like, a little sack of some sort, reaches into,
Hello.
like, a side pack and goes, "Hi, I'm looking for the office."
The office, yes. And presumably the rescuing office. Take it. Not like the mail office or the post office or the
Yeah,
head
I was
office?
told to come to you guys and, talk to someone at the office, so.
Well, yeah, come on in.
Okay, he just kind of, like, shallowly walks into the garage, looks around, like, where do I...
He's kind of coming in. I'm gonna lead him to the offices,
Okay.
like
To
right
Wanda's?
this way.
Wanda's
to
or
Wanda's
Uncle's?
office. Wanda. I
Okay.
feel like Wanda's is closest.
They're kind of, like, across from each other. Uncle's has, like, a custom designed, almost folksy looking, like, come on in, we're open, even though the door's closed. Wanda's is slightly ajar. It's reasonably featureless.
Yeah, I'm still taking him to Wanda's.
Okay. Wanda isn't busy. When you come in, the guy comes and goes, "Hi," and she starts interacting, going, "Oh, how can I help you?" And the guy starts, like, he sits down, he has a bit of a discussion. You notice yourself get pointed at, and the guard looks back at you, and then looks back at her for a second, then nods and goes, "Okay, yeah." She says, "If you guys want to come with us, that's fine."
Of course. Well, we're always happy to help. All right, Chicken Club. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
We got a job to do.
Oh. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
The guard kind of awkwardly stands by the edge of the garage, waiting for you guys to get your wagon in order.
So, monsters? More gremlins? Is there people in need of a hero or 3, 4 maybe?
I was told to seek you guys out for an investigation up. Oh, we just lost Chelsea to the blur for a second. You disappeared into the fog. We thought you were gone.
Yeah, I realized that the sun actually goes down sometimes.
It's
Oh,
pretty intense, and then it comes
I
up
know.
later. It really gaslights you like that.
I know. Like
man,
really
Will,
useful.
that's such a good gaslight.
Because the sun is primarily made of hot gas.
Well, it's
Subscribe for
plasma,
more
I
astronomical
guess,
facts.
But subscribe for more arrogant. No, not the arrogant worms. They might be giants. Subscribe for more. They might be giants. 2 parts. Children's science song.
So currently, you guys are moving along. The guard is trying to lead you up. Says that you guys are needed for an investigation. Up at, like, in Trader's Oak. There's a bar there. Something happened in the basement. Guy doesn't know a lot of details. He was sent, like, by the guard to the scene and then hit the edge and then was told by someone to go get you guys. He doesn't really know.
Was anybody hurt? Is anybody still hurt? In need of a doctor, perhaps?
A couple dead. Paramedics are already there, though.
Ooh. Well, I'll be frank. I don't know how much help will be. We're usually in the business of preventing deaths. Remember, prevention is worth a pound of necromancy.
Well, we might need a pound of, whatever you said. The guard is leading you towards, like, the funicular thing, the thing that goes clunk, clunk, clunk. The way you guys would be able to go for free is to go up the spiral. This one usually has a fare.
Yeah, I mean, we typically go up the spiral. That's what we did last time. And if nobody's, like, actively hurt and it's a cold thing, I think, say, it takes what, like an extra hour or two going up the spiral? Like,
Well, we're with the guard. It's for something important. They can let us through.
All right. I'm not usually one to support an abuse of power, but suppose this isn't neither of those things.
Well,
So
it's not. Hey, come on.
onward.
It's not that. It's literally a contractual agreement for easy access through the city.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure one of the other, local companies actually has an agreement. You should go to Watcher's Pine and talk to them. You might be able to negotiate something.
Hmm. Yeah, it does seem a little counterintuitive to have to go up the spiral in case of an emergency.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's not about, abuse of anything. It's about safety. You guys don't have to queue for very long. It's almost down at the bottom and it's already emptying by the time you're, like, settled in the line. Very quickly, the line starts moving. Everyone moves to pay the fare. They don't even ask. The second that they see that you're, like, with the guard, they look at the guard, and then the guard, like, gestures to your wagon, and then he just waves you through. This thing's, like, almost like a ferry, but it's just this big mechanical clunk, 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 clunk. It's a couple of wagons wide. It can bring all this stuff all the way up into the trees on a big stonework rail that goes all the way up. You're settled in. You don't need to latch anything down. They just have, they have chocks if you need them. Otherwise, they don't have really any significant jostling that they expect. They just let you know when things are about to move. Currently, though, it's kind of like, there's a railing nearby and you can sit near the edge of your wagon and look out over the edge. Above you, there's access to a private section that costs more. You can hear people laughing. You actually see someone go to, like, a storage room that's near the side of this thing and then come back with, like, a couple of hors d'oeuvres and a little bit of champagne to go to the upper level. You get a bit of a warning, like the funicular car is moving and then it goes clunk, 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 clunk and starts moving kind of at a 45-degree angle upward. You go from the bottom up to the lower canopy. You can see most of the, like, lower part of the city now. You get to the medium canopy. It's all mostly just openness, big tall sections of trunk. A bit further up, you're near the upper canopy. You get a bit of a warning saying that it's coming to a stop. It almost is there, and then they say, like, there will be a second lurch, be ready, and then it goes clunk one way, and then you can feel the clunk as it, like, latches on with, like, a reserve latch thing. It's reasonably stable. They they have a crank, they unfurl the other side of this thing, and you guys go out the other way. Takes a little bit, because there's a car ahead of you, and then another one, and then it's you. You guys are at Trader's Oak currently. It's not far now. The guard is telling you that you need to go to a place called, and he checks his notes. The guy seems kind of new. This isn't just me making up an excuse, because I have done that.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, he's going, oh, it's, the Bent Coin Inn. It's this way, I think.
All right. And you're saying that nobody knows what's happened here?
Oh, just I don't really know.
Oh.
Looked pretty bloody, though. They were moving some dead bodies.
Just me.
Other people might know.
I
I'm not
appreciate
one of
your
those
honesty.
people.
You move down spiral slightly. This whole, like, inside of the tree section is, like, all kind of downhill San Francisco style. There's sections that come off of it, the upper section, and then there's technically like the structure for a spiral that goes down, but it's not meant to be used for service. It's just like in case of emergencies or in case of like, someone going down to the lower levels to deal with like a water system or something. It's basically an industrial area deeper down the tree. City services, that kind of stuff. Where you are, though, you pass by a couple of workshops, like artisan spaces, guild halls, and then you end up at an area that's been partially cordoned off. The guard, was able to get the cordon to move so you guys can make your way through. There's no blood out here, but you can see that there's a couple of people who are literally just like covered in blood and looking horrified. There's already some paramedics talking to them. It looks like the last of the wagons is leaving just now. There's 3 people who are talking in a corner. They're not dressed like the rest of the guards, they're dressed a bit more casually. Not in terms of like, they're just wearing t-shirts and jeans, but...
Yeah, they're not wearing a uniform.
No, they're wearing more like suits that happen to have like a distinct like pin and like the appropriate colors and like a feather in the hat that indicates that they're with the Pine Watch guard squad. It seems like they're in the middle of discussing something. They've acknowledged you and they give you a little wave like they're about to talk to you, but they need to, quickly like finish talking about something. You've been let inside the security cordon.
Well, yeah, I'm taking a look around. Like I'm looking like damage, fire, signs of magic.
Currently, everything looks perfectly fine aside from the, obvious signs that something bad happened inside. There's people outside looking reasonably shocked. Some of the wounded...
Can I go talk to the people in shock? I'm gonna go doctor some shocked people.
Alright, you make your way closer. It looks like they're getting appropriate treatment. You aren't strictly needed. If anything, like, one of the paramedics nearby is kind of just sitting on a stool, like, making sure that there's, like, active observation for these people, because anybody who really needs it has gone back to, like, the hospital. That being said, they want to know if you want any information. You guys weren't brought for emergency response, you were brought along for investigation. This particular paramedic knows about the injuries and details like that. Do you want to roll Social Doctor for an information download?
I think that's probably the best thing that I can do here.
I could roll Social Doctor.
You could! And it would be very brave of you.
Brave is the right word.
22 for Social Doctor.
So the numbers are 7 dead, 5 in hospital. There's 11 witnesses on the scene who, like, were directly there, who saw things. Some of them have superficial injuries. The way it's described, he's saying, like, there's lacerations, monster injuries. He mentions that there was a squooger in the inn.
A what?
So you guys have a squirrel
squooger.
dog? Squirrel cougar.
A squirrel cougar.
Oh no.
Cougar.
Like a cougar
Cougar.
that can climb vertically at full and upside down at full speed.
So like just a normal cougar with a bushier tail.
But like more of a 3D kind of mobility.
3D cougar.
A 3D cougar.
Yeah, every anime
Unlike
fan's
those-
worst nightmare.
Unlike those 2D cougars you see in real life.
Yeah.
It is worth saying this is like a lot of monsters that happen to be like crossed as irregular animals. It's like ligers where like they get bigger, they get meaner and angrier. Even though this thing's kind of like a bit of a cross, it's still like bigger than even a big cat would be. This is a reasonably large animal.
Oh no. Okay. This is like
Like it would have been able to fit through a door, but deftly, you know?
like like a lion or a tiger will fit through a door. This thing like it would put the door through its paces.
Okay.
Like if a Karen had one of these, you know she'd be complaining about how her Squooger doesn't fit in this establishment.
One of the detectives
like-
is coming.
Like it does, but
One of the detectives is coming by to talk to you. You see a Tortuga walk up, his hat kind of slightly off kilter, adjusts his tie a little bit in his suit. Hey, Detective
Remember-
Wangler.
hello, detective.
So-
Your hat's a little crooked there. I couldn't help but notice.
Oh, thanks. I try to keep it a little bit jaunty angle. I like to think it
Well-
adds to the charm. So,
Jaunty.
I don't know if we've worked together before or if you've worked one of these, but we were just thinking a monster service would give us the angle we need for a case like this. It's not every day a Squooger shows up inside and in.
In the inn.
Is there any, like, indication about how it got there? Like, what leads do you have so far, I guess?
Well, I could take you through the walk if you want. Show you the scene. Have you guys been through
Yes.
this crime scene? Do you know the rules? If so, you can go along on your own, but I wouldn't want to lead a rookie stepping through bodies.
It'd be nice to be able to ask questions, too. So, yeah, come with us.
Okay, well, Detective Lavalier over there and Coroner Cutlet would be able to answer some questions, too. Wait, you guys want to come along?
Certainly.
At this point, like, they both arrive, and one of them shows up. He goes, Detective Lavalier, it's good to see you, all of you. I don't think we've met before, but I look forward to working with you in the future. Unfortunately, I have to deal with witnesses and the people who happen to be walking by. There were a number of potential witnesses who were in the crowd. It would be best for you to stay here, but if you come back outside, I would be happy to respond to any inquiries you happen to have. Thank
Sounds
you.
good.
And he goes off to talk
Okay.
to a witness.
Man, that guy's voice was weird.
Detective
Yeah.
Lavalier.
Yeah,
Responding on scene.
That guy's voice was really weird.
So Wangler and Cutlet are in there, and when you open, you start to see the blood. The tavern door opens, there's like a mezzanine section. The way it's built, it's like... You don't open the door right in the middle of the room, you open the door at like kind of a control point to two sections. One of them, there's a mezzanine, it goes up to the rooms. The other side has, like tables, chairs, a bar. That being said, I gotta get the crime scene diagram out here.
Ooh.
Crime scene diagram.
Crime scene diagram.
So, you're told in advance there's some evidence up on the upper mezzanine, but a lot of it is down in the lower cellars as well. This is something that takes place over 4 floors.
Oh god.
Is it still here?
The body is, yeah, it's dead.
Oh, it's dead. Okay.
Excellent. That makes our jobs a lot easier.
Wait, so what are we doing here again? If we're not here to kill it?
Well, we
Maybe
need to
to
find
figure
out.
out, yeah, like where it came from, how it got here. Did somebody bring it here for some purpose? Like, yeah, that sort of thing.
Like,
Got
imagine downtown at Jack's, some people were mauled by a grizzly bear.
Yeah.
Your first question wouldn't be, okay, the grizzly bear's gone, so we don't need to ask any further questions.
Yeah.
So, yep, you guys are at the intersection. You can see that towards, like, the dance hall area, there's, like, a whole lot of blood in a big pool. You can see the chalk outline of where a couple of people were wounded. You can see that there's, like the detectives point out, there's a couple of people who had to be picked up and moved from here because they were still alive. They needed treatment. They went to the hospital. This is close to where it died when it really, like, got out to the inside of the tavern proper, but this isn't where the carnage started. It started deeper down. So do you go up, down, into another room? To the other side, away from the dance hall, you can see, like, the chairs are askew. There's signs of, like, rushed fleeing. You can see also, like, just behind the bar, just the edge of a chalk outline where someone's foot must have been.
So, Yeah, so I think we want to trace this back to where it begun. That's usually the best place to start.
Alright, Wangler leads you on through like the upturned tables and knocked over chairs. You see the chalk outline where the barkeeper was. It's pointed out. From there, you go down into the cellars. They mentioned that this is a multi-layered basement. There's a basement level and then a proper cellar. Down here is a card room. There's like, like a carpeted floor, nice plush tables. It's carnage, safe to say. There's the outline of 2 dead. You were told that someone else was a hospital. There were a couple of witnesses here. There's a door that seems to have been put through its paces. Not smashed. The mechanism actually seems to have been half open. But whatever came through here went whap and made this thing rattle along its hinges. There's a clear claw mark against it, and claw marks along the ground, and claw marks going up the stairs.
I'm gonna sort of crouch down and kind of, take a look at the hinge mechanism, because that's something that I'm familiar with. I guess I'll make a roll, but really just to verify that, like, yep, that's a hinge what got slammed by a big aminal. And that is a 6.
A 6. The nails that hold the hinge in place are slightly wrenched, but it looks like it still should be fine. You can still take the door and push it and pull it.
Okay.
There's no damage to the latching mechanism.
So this door was open when the beast burst through.
Yeah, that's what we suspect.
Is the door usually left open?
Well, it's the kitchen. It would not be left open, but frequently opened.
Like, typically you don't lock the door to the kitchen because people are coming and going frequently.
Yeah, well, that brings us to our first mystery here. Well, our second one if you include the Squirger course. Makes his way through and points you out. Through this door in the kitchen, there's another chalk outline. Goes, this here was the bus boy.
Okay, boss boy.
Damn.
Don't worry, that's the last of the human bodies. A bit further down, but this
If
oughta...
only we had been here sooner.
Yeah. I wish. I don't know how something like this happens, but you'll see why this is especially a mystery soon. And he goes down to the final level. Here you can see there's casks. There's something that's unique to these tree dwellings, which is a sweep hole. It's like off to the side of the house, you open it, and then you go foomp, 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 get everything out of there. You have to close it and make sure to lock it and latch it properly. That one you can see has, like, there's light coming through it. It looks like it's been gnawed open, but really tiny, like just a rat or a squirrel or a raccoon got through. Around here, there's all kinds of... There's a few dead pests, but, like, a whole bunch of, like, vermin droppings. And right in the middle of the room in the back, there's an open cage that would be able to hold a beast like this.
So how big is this thing? Like, is it cougar sized or squirrel sized or somewhere in the middle? Like, would a single person be able to carry this?
You would need, like, 3-4 people to carry it.
I'm gonna take a look at the hinge, like the latch on the door. Was the latch forced open?
And with the cage, like, can we see anything, like, suspicious about the cage? Like, is there any indication that it would, like, give us any information about the people who did this, I guess?
If you want to give me a roll for that, I can give you information based on that. The latch on the door, is that the cage door or the sweep hole door? There isn't a door that goes down to the cellar.
This was the cage door, and this was much better. That is a solid 16, baby.
16. This was open, and there's a separate latch because it's a vertical door that holds it open. For someone to have done this, they would have had to be reasonably close by. This thing would have to be distracted, or it would have had been calm for a little while first.
So someone was working with the swagger.
Cougar.
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 Right. Well,
It's not a squirrel tiger, it's a squirrel cougar.
So
well,
I'm gonna
many
roll doctor, mental doctor, because
Hmm.
I'm hoping I can get like an indication of maybe like physical traits or fingerprints or anything, like maybe there's blood. I don't know. I'll see what I can see. From this cage.
Alright, what's the roll?
17.
17. You do find a little bit of blood, but it's like that leaky, weird blood, like watery blood. Like almost like when you're cooking with meat. It's curious for a quarter second, and then you look up and kind of caught underneath one of the barrels. Now that you're looking down, there's a piece of butcher paper. Looks like this was a package of meat formerly. You can see, now that you're looking a bit closer, Detective Wangler goes to tie his shoe and goes, "Oh, look at that!" Like one barrel over, and, doesn't want to disturb it, gestures so you can see it. There's like a gnawed piece of T-bone.
So someone has clearly baited this thing to...
Used a T-bone as a distraction, and then booked it out of the room.
Yeah. Or like baited the thing. Is there any traces of that blood anywhere else?
There's some spattering, like it isn't entirely centralized. Whatever was here was distracted and going crump crump and dragging a little along the ground. Most of the other blood here is animal blood from a couple of torn apart squirrels, a couple of torn apart rats. No human blood down here, and no squooger blood.
So, well, it seems to me there must be something missing, something stolen. That fits the MO of the person who released that gremlin. And it wouldn't surprise me if they were related somehow.
Do we know... Is there anything at this scene that would lead us to believe that we're related? That, like, these two cases were related? Other than, like, obviously there's...
Was anything stolen?
Or, like, even, is there anything, like, out of place in the same spot that it was at the last scene as well?
I mean, there's a cage and a monster on the loose.
Yeah, they haven't seen anything stolen, but they'll double check because they hadn't considered that angle as a distraction. Detective Wangler goes up and says he's going to double check the cash box behind the bar.
And where is the proprietor of this establishment?
He kind of like turns around halfway up the stairs. He's going up to like the level where the bar is, and he goes, "Oh, hasn't been tracked down yet. Apparently was working late last night."
So he's nowhere to be seen.
Hopefully we should be able to wrangle him soon.
That's most unusual.
You have a moment. You're free to travel around. The coroner's willing to answer questions or talk about the bodies, where they were found, what the wounds were like. If you want to, they still haven't been moved. They've just been like, moved off to like a closed body wagon off to the side so that people can't poke through them, so that you guys have the privacy to like lift them up and observe the wounds if you wanted to.
Yeah, can I go look at the bodies? Because I'd like to look for, like, animal... like, signs that there was an animal, but also is there any damage to the other people that are there? That is, like, human in nature.
They also have the Scooger body, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you should look at that body as well. See if it's malnourished or mistreated, or if it seemed like it was abused or something.
And also make sure that it's not two very small people in a Scrooger costume.
Yeah.
True. Very
Very
true.
The old
Yeah.
Scooger maneuver.
Yeah, the Scooger maneuver. Classic.
Yeah. Okay.
Detective Wangler stumbles back and goes, well, doesn't seem like anything was emptied out. I'll have to double check this here transaction book. Of course, I'm not much for reading. I'll poke through it a while, see if I find anything. He's sitting there by the bar, checking out this thing, kind of licking his thumb, moving it, observing all the little interactions.
Okay, so do we know for sure that this Scooger came from the cage, or are we just guessing?
Well, it could have come from the sweep hole, I suppose.
The hole that was eaten through isn't big enough for a whole Scrooger. If it was open, it would be able to let one through, but it looks like it's still latched closed.
Could somebody have pushed the Scooger through the hole and then latched it closed from the outside?
They would be hanging on the outside of a tree a kilometer up in the air.
So, most criminals would not do that, but your average bored teenager 100% would.
You do find graffiti weird places.
Probably.
Okay, well, I kind of want to pick up the T-bone steak and take it to the butcher and be like, hey, do you recognize this animal? What can you tell me about this cut of meat, what this bone came from?
You're thinking about it, but it doesn't take long. This is just beef steak. You've eaten a T-bone.
Okay, so, yeah, well, what's the sort of state of refrigeration in this world?
You can make cellars, and you can have ice boxes and, bring ice in from cold places if you have the right kind of wagon service, but it's not, normally meat has to be reasonably fresh butchered.
So it would make sense for the hotel to have an ice box, or the kitchen rather, to have an ice box where maybe they could have stolen the steak, but if they're not serving steak, they would have had to, sneak it in from somewhere relatively fresh.
Poking through the kitchen, you're able to find that they do have, all kinds of food available. The barrel of, meat, there's a couple of different small, boxes of meat and fish that, you can see that there's a couple of piles of butcher paper and, a cutting board and a couple of knives hanging off of, hooks nearby. The boxes have been toppled and torn through a little bit. It hasn't been picked clean. If anything, it seems like there's a bit more anger in this animal, or more of a feral attitude. It's not entirely devouring things. It seems to be more aggressive.
I mean, I would prefer to eat my steak when I'm not being yelled at and screamed at and attacked. And if I'm being yelled at and screamed at and attacked, I'd probably hit a box or two. So, remember, a cornered dog is more dangerous.
Sure.
Okay, but so I guess my question is, do we find a bunch of similar cuts of meat up in the kitchen? Okay. So it's possible that he stole the meat from the kitchen, brought it down here. Oh man, this is such a wild question, but is the bone raw? Or has it been cooked?
It is raw.
Okay. So he didn't order the food. Because you can't just order a raw T-bone steak. That's insane. They gotta remember that.
It looks the
See,
same
what
as
I'm
the other
thinking is they
raw
used
ones that
it
they have ready to cook.
Didn't they just use the steak to bait it in here? They could have just my
theory is they somehow got him in here. Then when it was time to release him, they obtained a stake to use as a distraction, so when they opened the cage, it wouldn't immediately maul them. And then they booked it.
I'm so glad that the
Possibly-
nonsense of this case has set in, where it's like if you literally were like, no, someone brought a tiger to a barroom basement in a small town in Texas. We're trying to figure out
Yeah.
what the fuck happened. Like,
Yeah.
it's not implausible, but it's also perfectly likely that someone brought in this big heavy cage and then like released this thing, gave it a distraction, and ran. There are still witnesses you could talk to. There are still bodies to inspect. I didn't ignore that, by the way. I just there are a couple of more right here questions. You can talk to the coroner directly. You can go check on the bodies, or you could go talk to the people who were well enough to stay and be witnessed, even though they have a couple of superficial injuries. They have some bandages on, but they're sitting there talking to officers and talking about what they saw.
Can I start with the people who are injured? I think.
All right.
I wanna go with some injured people first.
If you needed to, you could take a long trip to go to the hospital and talk to the wounded and to the doctors that are attending their injuries. For now, the people that are injured, there's a couple of them there. I'm gonna double check the list here. There's a whole bunch of witnesses who are just bar attendees who happen to be in the room at the time. There's a witness who looks particularly shaken from the mezzanine, further above. They're not in the bar, of course, they're all outside. From down below, though, there's 3 witnesses from, the bar room, the card room, I should say, where this thing would have come out of the kitchen.
Did
That's who you
anyone
got to
in the
work
kitchen
with.
survive?
As far as they know, the only person in the kitchen was the busboy. This was still pretty early in the morning, although you don't notice around any of the tables or even toppled any signs of breakfast.
Well, I think I have a bunch of questions for people. I don't know how we want to conduct our surveys. If we want to do them one person at a time, or sort of ask questions to the group so that their memories can all sort of blur together into one unusable mess.
Not do that. I would rather all 3 of us interview one person at a time.
Okay, that sounds fine.
Because there's
I would
only...
I would like to interview Mezzanine person because I bet you they saw everything from a good vantage point.
Alright, the guard requests that you guys are consulting detectives, that you whisper questions to them to do the proper investigation as part of protocol, but more or less they're willing to be your sock puppet for the interrogations.
Okay.
You have Detective Wangler and Detective Lavalier who could lead this for you.
I mean, here's I have basically 3 main lines of questioning. Line 1, did you notice anybody weird? Anybody suspicious? The sort of person that could wrangle something like this would probably stand out in the crowd. Question 2 is just the logistics. Did you hear anything weird? Did you notice anything weird? Weird smells, weird sounds. I think question 3 is what it came out of the basement, rampaged through the kitchen, rampaged through the bar, and then got taken out. Just taking a line of events. Makes sense.
Alright. You can mumble those over. Who do you want to lead? Do you want the Lavalier guy or do you want Wangler?
No, I want Wangler. He was fun.
Alright. He wanders up and starts talking to the person from the mezzanine. He goes, Hey, how's it going? Look, I don't want to badger you with too many questions. I know you're pretty shocked already. Listen, we got some people here from a local monster service. They tend to do, inspections, that kind of thing. But given the unusual nature of what went down, we thought that for the people you saw, a little bit of extra consideration. So, we were just wondering, what were the questions again? What's the first one?
First one, did you notice anybody strange?
The type of environment is the sort of thing where, like, if need be, like, Wangler could, like, talk over you, kind of muffle you, and then interpret the question. But otherwise, you're usually just, like, talking. So you're just like, did you notice anybody strange?
Yeah.
And the witness goes, I was mostly distracted by the carnage, but
But like before. Prior.
there were, a couple of weird people, but there's all kinds of weird people at bars. We didn't really interact with a lot of people.
Nobody that had, say, giant cat scratches on their arms or face.
Not that I know of. We came in pretty late. We had just had dinner and stuck to ourselves, and we were just gonna leave earlier today and take care of some things, but one of the kids was feeling a little sick. Luckily, everyone in my family's okay, but oh god, those poor people. What's your next question?
Next question. Right before it happened, did you notice any sounds, sights, or smells, or anything off? Like people leaving the kitchen quickly, or people suddenly getting up and leaving, or anything like that?
It all happened so fast. Like, if you hear a shot and you're thinking, oh, is someone hunting? Is that a gunshot? And then you wait to listen for the second one. There was a clang, and then I was trying to think about how far away the screaming was, but then it was too close, and then that thing jumped up here. I was standing right there, and it's a good thing the adventurers were there. They just shot it dead. It was just feet from me. Any other questions?
That kind of answered everything. My second one, I guess. Who are these adventurers? I'd like to talk to them, get their perspective.
They
So
stuck
that's
around
maybe-
for questioning as well. They're nearby.
Okay. I guess one last question. That's just, you didn't like lose your wallet in the chaos by any chance, eh? Like, you didn't have anything robbed from you?
No, we still have everything.
Okay. Well, thanks. This isn't a very spades way to end it off. He says, "You're doing your part to help this investigation, and you should be proud. It's not easy to fight through shock like that. And
Thanks.
You're doing your part."
God, there was just so much blood. Who do you talk to next? Or do you guys have other questions?
Adventures.
The adventure.
Adventures.
Alright. There's a group that almost seems to have some lumberjack theming. You see a lot of bows and axes and flannel. They've got some, blood spatter on them, but they're well armed. They're ready to fight. They were the ones who took out the squoober.
Well, question number one is not a question, but good job. Taking that thing out. Couldn't have been easy.
Oh, thanks. Just kind of jumped to it. We were in the middle of breakfast, and I realize a lot of people died. I try to use humor to cope with these things, but nothing gets between me and my pancakes.
We each deal with trauma in our own way. Hey, other questions. I guess just like, you didn't notice anybody, adventurer kind of keeping your eye on the riffraff. You didn't notice any weird energy shift or anything in the patrons before the thing attacked?
Energy shift? You mean like magic, or?
No, well, I meant more just like people being like, "Oh, time to leave. Time to pay your bill and get out of here," or like a bunch of people come, from a back room and quickly leave. Anything suspicious?
No, not like anything went down. Just the one guy from the night before.
And the guy
Actually,
the night before.
yeah, we actually picked up, and the guy goes and he takes out a poster. It's like an adventuring job poster. And goes, "We were looking to see if they were willing to hire, but apparently we were charging too much, which, like, shit, we're already barely making food and rent as it is." But there was someone else, kind of a funny, fanciful fellow. Said that he'd be able to get the job done a bit cheaper. It was him and just, a couple of laborers. They didn't seem like typical adventurers, just worker types.
Well, I'm looking at the poster. What's the poster say?
The poster is asking for people to help deal with a vermin problem in the basement of the Bent Coin Inn.
Huh. Interesting.
So
Well,
we
it's
said
very-
we said we'd get it done for a couple of silvers. That we've fought far nastier things. This is mostly for the time and the cleanup and the risk with killing vermin, but they didn't want to pay the whole thing. And this guy said, he was in town. He'd be able to get it done.
Now, typically, when you kill vermin, the risk is often with the diseases they carry.
Exactly. It's a health and
The
safety thing.
poster does. I'm like scanning through. The contract was to kill and remove the pests, correct?
Yep. Pest control.
I'm saying this because the pests were not removed. There's a lot of dead pests down there.
Yeah. A lot of dead everything down there.
Well, and he was here today before the attack.
Not today. Just last night.
I see.
Wait a minute, did this guy just fucking release a Squooger to try to deal with the rat problem?
God, I hope not. But like,
I mean,
it would take so many people to like get a squooger in there. Like, I can't imagine this is just one person.
well, you know what they say: a squooger can't change its squats.
True, very true. But the squooger, like, it's not that boy's fault.
No, it very much is. Like,
The
I
squooger?
know what you're
No, they just let him out into a room. He got scared and then murdered everyone. Like, that's just how it be.
Well, sometimes you get scared and you murder everybody.
you get squirted.
Exactly.
Hey, those squirrels, they were super like. They were killed by the squooger, right? Like they were hacked and slashed.
chomped in half and thrown across
Yeah.
the room.
Okay, so that wasn't like they did a bad job of exterminating. This was like they didn't do it at all,
Definitely
and
the
then the
Squooger.
thing got out. Okay. Oh, did you manage to catch that fancy man's name?
Nah, we didn't really talk to him. Kinda seemed obnoxious, to be honest. Is there anyone you want to talk to next? You still haven't gone up to the mezzanine to see the corpse of this thing, or check the bodies.
We should check the
Yeah,
bodies.
so I'm gonna go to check the bodies of.
We can play
No,
the
I
card
want
a
to do.
bit.
I want to do Squooger first because then I can figure out like what the claw shapes look like. So then, if there is any non-Squooger type activities going on the other bodies, then I can like recognize it. You know?
Here, let's like jump forward a little bit in time and pretend we're a coordinated team. All right, you two go up and investigate the bodies. I'll use my affable personality to interview the witnesses. Go team.
Great
Alright.
plan.
Up at the mezzanine, you've gotten up another set of stairs. Here, there's still a couple of places to sit. Some of the chairs are upturned. There's a bit of blood near, like, one side close to the stairs by the edge where some of the attack took place. There's a big pool of it where the Squooger was killed, but it looks like there's a couple of arrows sticking out of it and a couple of obvious big cloven hatchet wounds. Based on the adventurers you saw, it's their weapons. This is where the scene takes place. Or at least where it ends. Squooger's sitting there, kind of
Okay.
slumped over. It's dead. It's got a bunch of wounds in
So-
it.
I'm gonna start by looking at the different like wounds and stuff on the Squooger. to see if there's anything weird, like out of the ordinary to what the weapons of the like adventure party looks like.
All right, want to give me a
And
roll
then
for that
I
of some
will
sort?
evaluate the claws. Yes. I'm gonna do doctor. I feel like that's probably the best way to do it. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
20. This thing, all of its fatal and recent wounds were all from just the attack, the last bit. It doesn't seem to have gone through a lot of resistance until right at the end when it was ambushed, but you guys, I'll say canonically, you've probably fought these before once or twice just on the road. They're fast. Like, you guys have a squirrel dog and that thing's already a bit of a rocket. Like, if it runs off and goes up a tree, you're fucked. This thing is the same thing, but like, speed of a charging horse vertically up a tree, about to like try to rip your jugular out, you know. Big, mean thing. It's a good like 9 feet long now that it's in front of you. Its paws are like the size of your face. That being said, it looks like there's a couple of patches of fur that are like just some hair loss, which happens in furry animals like this due to stress in these patchy patterns. It's slightly emaciated, not like it's starving, but like it, you know, may have chronically dealt with a bit of malnutrition. And it
I'm
has
assuming
a
they've had
couple
this thing in captive for a while.
Yeah, it shows like captivity style. There's a couple of small like fight scars here and there.
Okay. I'm gonna make a mental note of the types of claw marks that this thing would make, and then go look at the people bodies.
The way that the claws move, it would be between like just under an inch and like almost 2 inches apart. The claws don't spread that much, but like there's a bit of a finger action. You would see like total, you would be able to see 4 in a good claw impression, but if you saw 3 or maybe 2 with a bit of a scrape on either side, it would also be indicative. You have an idea of what its claw marks would be like, and they seem to correspond with a path that you're able to track through with the indication you got before, and knowing that it went down and then up, you can see like where it came up the stairs from the bodies, like down in the card room especially, because it tore through the carpet, up the stairs, and where it kind of clambered onto the mezzanine, tore through the railing a little bit. What about interviews? Who are you talking to next? You can see that the like one of the guards has come by to like inform you of something. He says something to Detective Lavalier, and then Lavalier talks to Wangler, and then he goes to talk to you, and he goes, "We've located the bar owner. He's currently up in Watcher's Pine awaiting questioning."
Well, actually, how far away is Watcher's
Pine? You are in Trader's Oak. Watcher's Pine is where the spiral is that you guys take to go up. So you guys are where the funicular is, you just have to go up the Merchant's Branch.
Alright, well, that questioning can wait, I suppose. Don't want to leave the scene just yet. Is there any of the kitchen staff or anyone that works in the restaurant that I could interview?
There is a waitress who's a witness. I'm double checking my list here. Sorry, I did kill like 12 people, so I have to keep a list of them.
Yeah.
Yep. Witnesses are... There's a couple of staff that are wounded that are still in hospital. The one that seems fine is a waitress who was down in the gambling room when all this went down.
Alright, I'd like to talk to her.
She seems really angry, but not like at you, like at the situation. I think it'd be 2 seconds. I'm just gonna grab her.
Okay. Well, how do you guys think the mystery's going so far?
I'm still not sure
I'm back.
Oh wow. Okay.
there's too many question marks for me.
Hmm.
They need to find like a motive. What
Yeah.
motive would somebody have had?
Because I don't think it's that they wanted to clear out the basement.
Yeah. Another
I
possible motive is they were targeting somebody in particular. You know, like there was somebody at the bar at the time that they wanted dead.
Yeah.
A hit.
Because I
An
feel like
assassination.
if it was like pest control, they could have just put a bunch of poison down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys are ready, they can get like drafters. Instead of getting like a crime scene photographer, they get people who go on the floor and they measure the distance and they do like a little map on a piece of paper. Same kind of idea. They have people who can process the scene and keep diagrams for later. It won't be fresh after you leave, but like you can spend the rest of the day doing this. Uh, Honestly, the guard coming to get you from dispatch is as good as like a piece of glass smashing. It's a big gig, and on top of that, worst case scenario, the you know, Allied Independent was founded by adventurers, and they still have the old girl. If something really bad happens, they can hop in it and deal with an emergency while you guys are separately responding to things.
Okay. Well, here's yeah. I want to know more about this waitress lady. Why is she so angry? What's her thoughts?
You don't hear anything right away. I'm assuming you're sticking with Wangler unless you go to get Lavalier.
Yeah. I'm sticking with him.
Hey, I got these monster service people there. Hi, is there anything I can help you with? I was at the gambling room when it came out into the customer area.
Well, luckily we don't need necessarily, unless there's anything you feel is worth sharing. We're more interested in what things were like at the establishment in the days leading up to today.
We were dealing with pest control problems for a while. It was one thing when, things would end up behind the casks and we had to sweep them and make sure that, we kept the sweep hole shut after we swept things, but then, things were getting eaten through. There was some, actual chew marks for like a couple of weeks, then a couple months.
Ugh.
Finally, one of them actually burrowed through a cask and it leaked onto the floor. I'm convinced that I saw droppings in a sack of flour, and I threw it out. I took the hit for that, and I got yelled at for it. But I wasn't letting people eat that stuff. Anything made from a sack of flour with droppings in it. It was getting bad.
It's good to stand up for your beliefs in public sanitation.
The guy tried to hire a couple of adventurers or pest people to take care of it, but he kept getting mad, saying that they were trying to grift him or something.
The owner.
Yeah.
Is he often the sort of take matters into his own hands type of person?
I'm gonna say no, but he would certainly say yes. Incorrectly.
And this these other people, did you bump into the adventurers that he hired?
Oh, he didn't hire adventurers. He hired some guy.
Well, you met this guy, and I take it you're unimpressed.
Yeah, this gym guy, bleached, had like braided hair.
Jim.
Had a bunch of beads and stuff. A squirrel folk, very fanciful fellow. He's a fast-talking, pierced-eared. Called himself a monster wrangler.
Uh-oh. He didn't, by any chance, leave a large cage with a unruly beast in the basement, did he?
Well, I think you know the answer to that. I just know we were told to stay out of the kitchen, and I tried to tell the busboy, but he was already through the door. He turned around like he was gonna come back out, but boom. It came through.
Oh, okay. So I was right. So the owner hired some cheap guy who was like, I'll just put a squooger down there. It'll kill everything. No need to worry.
I'm gonna ask one more thing. Thank you for your time and your courage.
One more thing, you say?
One more thing.
What's the one more thing? Because this is a Wangler move.
One more thing. Yeah, it is, isn't it? One more thing is there anything of value being stored at the tavern?
All right, so like you're sitting there, and then Wangler goes, "Yeah, thank you." Oh, one more thing. You say this guy's a cheap type, right? Cheap. So, did this guy have a store of valuables, or? She goes, "Oh, the opposite. Never had enough money in the till. We kept having to bother him to go and get the right amount of silvers and golds in case somebody came by and paid for a whole group ticket. Such a nightmare trying to make change and going, hey, here's 30 individual coppers."
Oh boy. It sucks that this world exists in sort of a pre-insurance scam era.
So what's the next?
Is the owner still alive?
The owner is awaiting questioning.
Wait, Will. Would we be able to invent the concept of an insurance scam?
Maybe.
Herb, I know what we're gonna do today.
Phineas and Ferb scan Green Shield. Now imagining Phineas going and pretending to take a hit off the edge of a car while skateboarding. Ah, stranger, you hit me. I think my leg's broken. Oh man, I saw that. I think his leg's broken. We should call the police or 911.
Phineas and Ferb are committing tax fraud.
Ooh.
Fucking Doofenshmirtz is trying to cheat on his diet, and he doesn't want his ex-wife to know, so he creates the evidence erasinator.
I feel like you would have the perfect type of brain to write a Phineas and Ferb
Yeah, well,
episode.
it's easy. Everything happens the same every single time.
But even just from how you came up with the evidence erasinator.
Yeah, it's not hard. It's a silly show.
That leap was a good one. I'm here.
I think so.
It's a Goofenschmerz.
It's a Goofenschmerz. I can't pronounce it. That's my one downfall. Anyway.
Is there anything else you want to inspect on scene?
I don't think so. Unless we want to check out the basement again with our new knowledge.
Yeah, not a terrible idea.
Do one last crime walkthrough, floor to ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to make sure that we're not
All right.
accusing people falsely.
I do have little maps for these, so I'll give you the descriptions. C2. You're able to check these with the drafters now that they're measuring things out and putting down the little evidence cards. In C2, there's the sweep hole / drain. Exhibit A, of course, is the squooger cage. Exhibit B is that sweep hole. There's a burrowed through trapdoor. It was closed at the time of all of this. Exhibit C is vermin droppings near the base of a water tank. Exhibit D is the distraction meat that's been eaten, the little bit of butcher paper, the little T-bone. Moving up to C1, there's a window at the top of the stairs for visibility and a little bit of smoke relief in the kitchen. The kitchen itself is a working kitchen. They make meals for people at a tavern all day. It's pretty busy. You need a lot of counter space. It looks like it was torn down for the day, though, which taverns usually serve breakfast, so that's a bit strange. Exhibit E, one dead, the unsuspecting busboy. You see the body outline in chalk. Exhibit F is the door, which has been partially smashed through just by force. Like, it'll work as a door, it's just all rickety and it has a bit of like a crack line in it. It was open though. Like, just barely. And this thing just went whoomp through it, which is the source of the damage. From there, you end up in the card room. Exhibit G, 2 dead, 1 in hospital, and 3 witnesses in the card room. From there, we move up to main floor M1. The way the stairs come out, you're kind of behind the bar. That is Exhibit H, 1 dead, the dead barkeeper. This is just like a bartender role, not the innkeeper proper, who's the person who's being held for questioning. Out there in the bar room, there's Exhibit I, signs of rushed fleeing. Exhibit J, in the central like dance area. You can see a window, there's some doors to some privies, but it doesn't seem like there's anything happening over there. Just here, there's a big pool of blood, there's 3 dead, and there's the sign that someone died at the mezzanine and fell down. 4 in hospital, 7 witnesses.
Ooh.
Up top, in the mezzanine, there's the last of the exhibits. Exhibit K is the top death spot where someone got killed and fell down from the mezzanine. From there, there's 1 witness, who's the person you talk to, who's very shocked by the whole thing. From there is Exhibit L, which is the Squooger corpse. That's the extent of it. I'll be back in a second.
I mean, I feel like there's not much else we need to know. Like, it'll be good to look down in the basement, but even then, like, I think we know what happened.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, there's just one question.
Hmm.
Who would be stupid enough to do this? Right? This is insane.
Well, see,
This
that's
is
sort of the thing that's still making me kind of hung up a little bit on this plan. Like how stupid do you have to be to think that this is the only way?
And what were they going to do with the squooger after after it killed all of the rats or whatever?
Like,
Yeah.
how are you gonna catch it again?
Yeah. Like what was your plan? Were you just gonna, cuz you released it in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Like, were you just gonna wait till it got tired?
Hey, interview time?
But I can't think of any other reason, you know?
No. Yeah, I think we go talk to the guy. Like, we can put a little pressure on him and be like, hey, we know you did it.
Yeah.
Like, we just don't understand how, like, why you're so stupid.
Yeah.
If you give us some insight on that, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that's... Oh, man. Like... Right? Oh, man, what the hell?
Okay, interview time.
Okay. From here, you guys travel a little bit. You move from Trader's Oak away from the bent coin, past a couple of different artisan shops. Sorry, I do want to... You guys haven't been here too much, so I'm trying to get some description. You move by a place called Brick Tree Pizza. And from there, you move down the Merchant's Branch. You see the Acorn Amphitheater and a place called Cold Bowl Flash Cooking. It's almost like a hibachi place, but they do like an alchemical cold cooking thing so that they don't start fires. Yeah. It's traditional to here. From there, you get to the Watcher's Pine, the central pine of Pine Watch. Here you pass by the public parade grounds and then end up at the guard office. They let you through and make your way up to an interview room. They've got the suspect ready. They've done all the procedurals, read rights, got details, got a statement. You could check if you wanted the prepared statement that this guy said, but if you wanted, you could also walk in and just ask questions. The only rule is only 2 people can be in the room, at any given time, not including the suspect, one of them has to be a guard. You guys can, however, quietly be behind, like, it's not like reflective glass, but it's like a little, like the way they have like a church confessional or little wood slats. You guys can be like behind the glass.
Yeah.
Gonna smack this guy. How are we gonna play good cop, other bad cop?
That's not an effective interrogation strategy.
I never said it was, but I'd like to smack this man at least once.
You have Lavalier, you have Wangler, and technically the coroner can help too.
Well,
like, I get that, but I want more than 2 people in the room. Like, I want there to be 3 people and not one of them to be a guard, you know?
Alright, so here's what I know about interrogating a suspect. Thing number 1 is that you have to lower the bar to admission. Right? You don't want to come in and say, hey, you know, why did you do this? You're such a terrible person. You come in and you say, hey, we all make mistakes. Who hasn't accidentally killed 12 people
A dozen
in their
people.
tavern by hiring a terrible animal control? You know,
This is a mistake anybody could make. You know.
So
Yeah.
casual,
So
just very regular.
so you come in and you say, hey, listen, like, I know things seem really bad, but we're here to help you. A, that's important, we're here to help. B, we've seen a lot of shit in our lives as rescuers, and this is nowhere near the worst disaster. These things happen. It's not your fault. But in order for us to move forward and help you get the situation back on track, you do need to tell us what happened. You know? Like, that's how you get a confession. Not by beating them up.
Todd Diamond, do you want to make some sort of intimidation roll? Intimidate isn't a skill, but, you know, pick a social skill to use. These guys want to see, they're not asking you to, like, you know, pin someone against a wall and be like, oh, you think I'm intimidating? They just want to know, like, if we use you as an intimidator, as kind of like a mad dog, what are you going to work, like, who needs to work with you? Can we expect you to, like, you know, fly off the handle, quote unquote, while still remaining in control?
Yeah, I can do that. What do I gotta roll?
Something social. You're gonna have to use these when you do the intimidating.
The best one I have is understand. So I think that kind of... I think what I'm gonna go for, because we're going for a little bit of, like, deviousness, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna play myself as, like, just no social, like, no,
The sort of role that
No
takes a lot
boundaries.
of... Yeah, like you're playing someone who's loose and doesn't know when to stop and is kind of, like, willing to say crazy shit. That's kind of the role you're
So
playing.
what I'm gonna play myself off as is, like, man, I totally get it. Wanting to kill all those people, I've wanted to kill a lot of people before.
Mhm.
Like, here are some of the things that I've done, you know, made some really good choices that way. Just sort of, like, try to be like, you know, I totally get where you're coming from. I also have committed war crimes.
They're willing
You
to
know?
offer you a proposition. Either that's you being the good cop and someone else is the bad cop, or you can be a lot more aggressive and be taken out of the room and not return, quote unquote, be part of the opening act, or they can set up Lavalier as more of like a rigid hard ass and you're a wild hard ass, and once Lavalier's set up, then both of you come in the room and that's like a bad cop, worse cop situation, and that's more of a finisher.
I feel like I almost want to get this guy to be like, no, I didn't do it to kill people. I only did it to, like, get rid of the rat boys in the basement. And, like, if I say, you know, I totally understand where you're coming from. Like, you are, you know, a devious monster. Like, I relate to that
Okay.
so hard. You know what I mean? Like try to trick him into like admitting to it accidentally. Does that make sense?
Lavalier wants to do that with you at the end once you know all the trigger points.
I'm good with that.
Who are gonna be the two openers? Because right now you've got a cold witness. Like, even though someone's spoken, like, they just came in, they read some rights, they got some signatures, they took a statement.
Oh man! Oh, pick me, teacher. I'm ever so affable and bad at confrontation.
What's your approach, and who do you take with you? The coroner, Are you bringing Lavalier? Are you bringing Wangler?
I think my approach would be to bring probably yeah, Wangler. I mean, we've been buddies. We've been interrogating people for a while now. So he's like a brother to me. And what my approach is just like, hey, look, listen. We know what happened. We know what's going on. We're here because we gotta sort of what happens to you, and the only person who has control of what happens to you is you. We already know that you did something terrible. We already know what you did. Okay. But if you cooperate with us, things like we're just trying to set things right here, and you can be a part of that. You know? That's what we're trying to
do. Okay, Wangler proposes that you withhold the information that you know about Squooger Jim until either the second round or as a closer for this. Similarly, withholding or using as a closer the fact that you know that he cheaped out on adventurers. Those are the things that Wangler wants to hold.
Okay, then I'll open with, hey bud, man, it must suck in there. Man, you must be having a real rough day. You know, we're gonna try and get this over with real quick. Get you out of there. Get you back home running your business. But this is gonna go as smooth as you want it to. You know.
All right. Wangler opens the door, ushers you through, comes in. He has to make the intro legally. Goes, "Hello, my name is Detective Wangler. I'm with the Pine Watch Police Department. My friend here is with Allied Independent Monster Services. According to Subsection 107, we are licensed to subcontract out to particular contractors in the event of unusual cases, and this is one such case. I imagine you're confused, considering we woke you up after a long night, so, well, maybe the professional could take over. What was your name? Diesel? Mr. Spade?
Diesel. Mr. Spade. Mr. Spade is, either one is fine, but I prefer to go by Mr. Spade.
Alright. Take it away, Mr. Spade.
Alright. Well, this is, they call us in here for the, extraordinary cases, and, well, I guess this one just kind of comes in and qualifies, don't it? Well...
Look, what's going on? People haven't really told me anything. All I know is something really bad happened at the bar, and you brought me in.
I got in. Oh my! Well, sorry about that, friend. Well, see, there seems to have been some sort of wild animal attack. A few people got hurt. Some of them very seriously hurt.
This far in the city? That sounds horrible. I find it hard to believe, but if you say so, I'm gonna have to believe that.
Oh, well, in my line of work, we see all sorts of things. But there's always people that need help, and I kind of, look around, and I think right now, it might be you that needs help. Things don't look good for you, I'm afraid.
Well, hold on, what did I do?
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out. If we can make this go as smoothly as possible, hopefully be able to clear your name and, get you out of here. That's my goal tonight.
Look, could you just tell me what's going on? And then Wangler goes, well, look, we read your prepared statement. We understand that you were interviewed about what's going on, and we know that this isn't the first time that you've had a bit of information come in. As far as I understand, you told the previous detectives that you had nothing to do with the Squooger attack. They informed you that there was a Squooger attack. Now, why don't you, I love a game of poker, but let's move a few steps ahead. Do you guys want to swap? Do you guys want to continue the line of interrogation?
Oh,
or do you
yeah,
want to
yeah.
let Wangler just sit there and chat with the guy while you go and regroup in the back?
Yeah, I'm good to kind of swap out. I want to leave this guy on like a, oh, here, just 1 minute. I'm gonna go, go and see if there's any other developments. We're gonna do everything we can to get you out of there, sir. Get you out of this predicament and back to your comfy hotel room from wherever you were. And I'm headed back out to swap out with someone that's maybe a little, I don't know, better at being meat.
Well, we can save the finisher for last, but there's still the core of this investigation. Who wants to jump in?
Oh, I'm sending Chicken Club in there.
What? You're
Yeah.
sending me?
I'm sending you in. You gotta look. It's real easy. You just gotta kind of look tough, like you're serious.
Yeah.
And Wangler will take care of most of it.
You could run this as just kind of like standing in the corner and then mumbling to someone else. Wangler is willing to keep going. Wangler's establishing rapport, although they haven't brought in Lavalier yet.
I'll stand in the corner and mumble to somebody every now and then. That I'm cool with that. But if you ask me to go in there, I'm gonna be like, "Yo, why'd you do that? Why are you dumb? And then we're not gonna get anywhere.
Okay, I'll give it a shot. I'm going right for the kill though. Like, I'm going for the, like, we have enough evidence to send you to prison for a long time for the murder of, like, a dozen innocent people.
Okay.
We're just trying to, like, cross some T's and dot some I's, like, just try to understand, like, maybe you can...
Oh, you know what you hit him with? You don't, here's what you say. You say, we don't want to know what happened. We already know what happened and what you did. We want to know why you did it.
Yes.
Because that's what's really going to matter when it comes to your sentencing.
Exactly.
We want to know
like,
why you did it.
You could kind of go for maybe, like, an insanity plea. Maybe someone bewitched you or, gave you a potion that,
I love how this
bent
turned
you to your will.
into like a JCS video. Like,
yeah, it did. I've been watching a lot of those.
All right, so who's going in?
Okay, I'll go in. That's what I'm gonna lead off with. So, like, I'm gonna come in with just, like, a bunch of blank papers in my hand, just nothing on them.
Are you in with Wangler or with Lavalier?
I don't remember names very well, so whoever wants to,
Wangler's pretty friendly. He's the folksy type who gets you reeled in a little bit, but he's not afraid to tell you that you've been a bit of an asshole with this lady. At the same time, Detective Lavalier is willing to tell you that you have murdered 15 people. We have evidence that can bring you in that will not exonerate you. It will bring you to court, we will bring you to jail. That's his kind of type. At the same time, and this guy's just been quietly working in the background, you do have the coroner if you want to do, like, the diagrams and pictures. The coroner is the person who's like, 3:57 p.m. The victim was lacerated 15 times. 5 of them in the shoulder, 4 across one side of the chest.
Ray, you gotta bring him in. He's the one you want. Oh, man.
I feel like that's sort of either him or the friendlier man, because then it would be more of like a, it's in your best interest. Like, I understand you. I want to understand. This person is not helping you whatsoever. I would like to help you.
Yeah,
Get
that's
the best deal possible. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah. But, like, if you're coming in and saying, hey, I know what you did, you want the coroner there to be like, no, and here's exactly the exact numbers, you're boned.
But we don't have any, like, concrete proof that he did it.
Well, you don't need it. You just need him to think that.
But that's why I think the coroner would be a bad idea. Because then, if the only evidence that we have is we found rat poo in your basement, and all of the evidence is
Well,
circumstantial,
Let's
then
go
we're
over
toast.
that. What evidence do you have?
Almost
Oh.
none. That's the problem.
Are we allowed? Wait, are we like allowed to lie to him?
I feel
I
like we
guess
can do
not,
whatever we
eh?
want. There's
I
no
mean,
well.
I guess
honestly, yeah.
like, we're
The cops are allowed
We
to lie
have-
to you.
We have confessions from other people saying that, like, he was looking for help with a rat problem. Multiple people, actually. The group of adventurers and the waitress.
Yeah.
I'm holding a piece of evidence for you guys that's going to be produced. Do you guys want it now or do you want it later? Just by Deus Ex
Oh.
Machina.
Well, I want it now. I want it before we
I
go
don't
into.
know.
Yeah.
All right. So for a while, Lavalier is in there grilling this guy. Wangler comes out and he goes, "I'm still bothered about this here transaction record." So he says here, someone was given a free room on credit, and the name is just Squooger Jim.
Wooger Jim.
Oh boy. Oh yeah. Things look grim for our hero, folks.
Got it. So we got boys.
We got.
We
him.
got a paper
Oh, man.
transaction of a free room given to a Squooger Jim. And we got a Squooger cage, reports of a fanciful fellow
named Jim.
named Jim.
And who?
I'm going in with the coroner.
Oh, you gotta ask him why he said his staff weren't allowed in the kitchen. If it came right from the top, that's like he knew what was going on.
All right.
Yes. Okay. I'm going in with the coroner. Freaking grill time, boys.
Coroner comes in as a member of the guard. He does the introduction. He goes, "Hello, I am Coroner Cutlet. I am here to continue your interrogation with a member of." You were told the license. If you need it again, we can give you the number. But a subcontractor with the same group as before, Allied Independent Monster Services. Don't expect too much grilling from me. I'm really just a scientist who works for these people. So, I believe my friend here had some questions for you about the more unusual nature of the case.
So I want to start off with saying I don't really have a lot of questions. Mostly just statements that I'm gonna, sort of slide your direction, see how you feel about them. If you'd like to, maybe state your case, clear up some confusions maybe that I have, then you're more than welcome to do so. I encourage you to do so.
Well, yeah, sure. I don't know why you're giving me the third degree. Like, I had something to do with this. This was some kind of weird freak animal accident. I don't know what you expect from me.
Man, that's the first statement. We know you did it. We've got lots of evidence. I think we're just kind of going for a really concrete case. We'd really like to just dot some T's, cross some I's.
Well, hold on. Are you setting
in
me
that
up?
specific order?
Am I your fall guy for some kind of nonsense just because there's a monster problem in the city? You think, oh, okay, this tavern owner, freak accident, you can take me down? Come on.
No. So it's a little bit more concrete than that. We know that you didn't let your staff in the kitchen because you knew that there was going to be an attack, and you only wanted to kill maybe the handful of people living in your rooms, but you really wanted to protect your staff.
I didn't want to kill anybody. Okay, I had nothing to do with anything. Also, I don't know where you're getting this idea that people go into the kitchen all the time. We're a tavern. People brew things and make potion. Sorry, I misspoke. Not potion. People make food and drinks and, it's a kitchen. People go in and out all the time. I don't know where you're getting this.
Sure. Yeah, sure, for sure. So we already have, proof that you rented a room to a man named Squooger Jim. We have statements from people saying that you're looking for, some pest duty, like cleanup. I'm thinking you had maybe some people in your hotel that didn't pay their bills, maybe, or something along
You're
those
just
lines.
trying to come up with some sort of thing to charge me with. Come on, what is this? Some kind of intimidation tactic? You don't know anything.
We don't need intimidation. We already have all the proof that we need. So I'm just trying to confirm, like, why did you want to kill all those people? Like, I get you. I totally get you. Like, I've been there. I've done some terrible things in my time. But, you know, this was just truly depraved. Truly depraved. The torture? Man, I would really just, like some clarification on why.
Let me know when you want Corner Cutlet to open this. Currently, this guy's sitting there going, come on, this is ridiculous. This is a smear campaign. You're sitting there characterizing me.
Time. This would be perfect. Like, just getting them in there with, like, this is the amount of damage that all these bodies had, and this would be a great time to slide those things in.
We have 7 dead, 5 in hospital, 11 with superficial wounds. We have 1 dead, the busboy, who I believe you hired just a few months ago, was torn through, severe lacerations in the throat and torso, died mercifully quickly. 1 death, surprisingly, from bludgeoning from a bit of tossed-over furniture by the sheer weight of this creature. Another gambler, of course, jugular torn out, had to have sat there for a good amount of time bleeding out. We expect probably 2 to 3 minutes. And then we move
Maybe
up a bit
they owed
further.
You money. Maybe that's why you wanted to kill them. That's a great motive. Great motive right there.
I'm not involved with anything, okay? My finances are flawless, perfectly above board. I am the best at finances that you'll ever come across. And look, this whole routine of telling me the gore and the blood.
You left a paper trail of you giving a room to a man named Squooger Jim.
I don't know every one of my patients. Look, I don't know every one of my patrons personally, alright? All I know is that, people rent rooms for me all the time, and there better be a paper trail because I'm a good businessman, and I keep notes, alright? Look, it's horrible, all this stuff that happened, but I don't know who this Squooger Jim guy is. I don't know what this paper trail is. If you've got evidence, you can slap it on the table. I don't know.
But then why did you give a free room to a man named Squooger Jim? And then I slam down the piece of paper that has that evidence on it that was presented to us. Like, it's clear to see right here with my 2 eyeballs that this is like you've done this. We already know that you did it. We just don't.
Can you
really
prove that that's
why.
my signature?
Yes. No further questions.
Alright, do it. Prove it's my signature. Come on.
I will go get the other document.
Alright, you go out to get literally the witness statement has a signature. Like, this guy just made a bonehead move where you can literally just go out, be like, boom, boom, that's it, same signature. Next move. You have a moment outside of the room. Do you swap out with anyone? At this point, with your current plan, what's his name? Lavalier wants to come in.
I think that's a great swap out.
Yeah. No problems here, Chief.
Lavalier comes in, goes, you can go, Coroner. Detective Lavalier, Pine Watch Police Department. You're already aware of my associate. I'm going to make something clear to you about what's about to happen. We have proof that your signature is the same as this paperwork on the piece of paper. We also have proof that you personally paid, based on several corroborating witness statements, this Squooger Jim fellow. We are attempting to track down Squooger Jim as we speak. As it stands, you can count yourself lucky, because the truth is, if we find Squooger Jim's going to take the brunt of this. You just hired the wrong guy, and you're the wrong guy. Wrong place, wrong time. But if we don't find this Squooger Jim fellow, it's just you. You have some imaginary figure. We don't know how that cage got down there, but maybe you falsified records. We don't know. But it's probably just you.
I'm gonna take this opportunity to do the, depraved, man, even if we find Squooger Jim, I'm gonna make sure you burn.
Oh, no.
You would...
And I get, really close to his face. Just, as close as
calm down, buddy.
Without touching him.
We're gonna engage in all the legal measures that we have available. 7 people are dead. 5 are in hospital. The number of dead could increase by up to that many, depending on how poor their injuries are, of course. So you tell me, do you want to find the guy who did this, or are you the guy who did this?
Ooh.
Look, legally speaking, I don't think you can come after me because I just hired an adventurer to deal with a standard tavern basement contract. Okay? There's a lot of precedent for hiring people. Sometimes these jobs go weird. Fine. Okay, yeah, that's me. That's my signature. I just hired a guy to take care of a job, okay?
Bang
Oh.
pot, and then I slam my fist on the table.
Is this where you guys leave the detectives to it, or do you want to come in to finalize this?
Oh, I want to slam this thing up there. I want to get this. Look, this guy did one fatal mistake. He's true. He's right about all this except for the one thing, which is that he had to know what the plan was.
But at absolute best for this guy, it is gross negligence that caused the death of minimum 7 people, which he will go to jail for. At worst, it was, reckless endangerment, which another good one.
Man, I just realized that I don't know anything about the law, and I'm like trying to figure out what this guy's guilty of, and then I realized that does put me on the exact level of real police. So.
That's called a juror.
Yeah.
Zinger!
Alright. Detective Lavalier's grilling this guy. Do you want to swap out Detective Lavalier, or are you just going to go in?
Well, I'm not gonna breach protocol.
Breach
So
protocol.
No. I like to follow the rules.
You just also, shout through the wooden slats. Guilty!
Oh, yeah. Remind him that we know he knew about it, the spooker. Remind him that it's his duty to keep the public safe while they're at his establishment. Okay, thanks.
I throw in some good, testify. Indubitably. Those sort of good content words.
Yeah.
Alright, who's in the room?
I think me still.
Yeah, no, that was my 2 cents. Just that, he's not off the hook just because, he didn't know. That's insane.
Yeah.
He had.
Negligence.
If he didn't know, that's worse for him.
That is worse for you. That's what we like to call in the biz negligence.
There's a knock on the door, and Lavalier comes up for a moment, steps out, and then Wangler comes in. He just quietly sits down while you're there, leaning over, intimidating this guy. This guy's off in the corner, and then he sees you. And he sees Wangler, and Wangler goes, "If you didn't know what the plan was, the waitress wouldn't feel guilty about the busboy's death because she could have warned him. But you could have warned all of them. You could have averted this whole situation. All you had to do was hire respectable monster services and pay the price of what service was needed. But you didn't, did you? You found a cheap, easy solution. Because you run the Bent Coin Inn, the Merchant's Pine, and you think you know a good deal because you can get a lower rate. And no one can fault you for being a businessman, but we can fault you for this. Now, what do you know about Squooger Jim?" Sits there and goes, "Alright, I offered him a free room, and all I had to do was pay him, free room, a couple of free drinks, and he would bring his Squoogers. There were a couple of people who were really hopped up, they they said they found this guy at a party. There was some rich guy uptown who had, like, a couple of his... This guy had come by and got him some skoogers for his, menagerie. It was a whole big thing, and I had brought up the fact that, the adventurers were really expensive, and this guy made me an offer, and it seemed like it would be the solution to my problems. He was a squirrel folk, he was a fanciful fellow, pierced ears, big old jewelry all over the place, bleached and braided and beaded hair. Went by Skooger Jim. That's all I know. I don't know where the guy went.
I'm like, well, that's just not... That's just not good enough for me, friendo.
Like, what was your plan? What was his plan if, like, Skooger Jim didn't work? Was he just gonna, like... No, hang on. Nobody in their... No, not even this man, dumbest of all men, would let somebody release a wild animal in their bar without him also coming back to get rid of it later.
Yeah, that's my question. Like, what was this man planning to do with the Squooger after it killed all the squirrely dudes in the basement? What was his plan? What is your plan?
The guy said he would come back after lunch. And by now, with all the time you guys spent interrogating this suspect, it's well after lunch. Especially with the amount of time, and the fact that you already had, a squirrel folk with bleached and beaded hair, a fanciful fellow, Skooger Jim. You had the information where if this guy showed up and actually stopped to talk to people, he probably wouldn't have been caught. This guy must have run for the hills because you haven't heard hide or hair of him.
Well...
You're going to jail for a long time, friend. Sorry to say it, but, you made just several bad decisions in a row. And...
He did.
Now you're gonna go to prison for it.
So, in the moment where you're able to break the protocol and have as many people as possible in the room, Wangler's already in there. Lavalier comes in and he starts giving him the whole thing. You are being arrested for being an accessory to manslaughter. You have the right to remain silent, blah, blah, blah. We will be moving you to a cell. This is where you're going to go. This is the jail. You're going to have your... you're able to send letters this many times a week at this location. We will pick them up via prison guard, all that kind of stuff. And the guy gets carried away. Skooger Jim is at large.
Oh, no. Oh, God.
You get back at the end of the day. As it happens, the Firehouse 4 came by early to cover dispatch, which is an ease off your mind, but nothing happened while you were gone. Just the usual kind of day. They want to know how your day went.
Well, we didn't really save anyone. We actually ruined somebody's life, and didn't...
We didn't ruin
rescue.
anybody's life. He ruined his own life.
You're right. Remember, kids, always pay full price for exterminators.
Wait, what happened? Some kind of monster accident?
The worst kind.
There's no such thing as a monster accident. Only monster negligence.
Yes.
Well, come on, we all worked here. What happened?
Oh, some guys tried to get rid of a squirrel infestation with a Skooger.
A Skooger? What'd they do? Leave the sweep trap open and bait it in? Or how do you get a Skooger in a tavern?
Cage.
They got a caged Skooger into a tavern?
Well, it wasn't caged for long.
Jesus, no wonder it took you this long to get back.
Yes.
Anyways, I think that's actually the work day, and we're here to cover you, and you guys are off tomorrow, so... Uncle comes out, and he's nearby, and he goes, yeah, you guys are good. You guys can take the rest of the afternoon off.
All
work
right.
today.
Sweet.
Cool. Well, you know what? We may have not saved anybody, but we did learn a lot about the legal and judicial system.
From people who have no right or legal obligation to teach it.
Yeah. So if you guys want to check out this stream, we are at twitch.tv/Bloodwine TTRPG. We're Bloodwine TTRPG on YouTube if you want to check out the uploads.
Hey, Will, before we wrap up, is Jim a reference to the Jim which cannot swim?
The Jim who can't swim? No, this was what's the guy's name? Like the actual Tiger King guy?
Oh,
Joe Exotic, that's it.
Joe Exotic.
It was the same thing, Sklooger Jim.
Yeah.
No, not a
Do the
reference to
people
Jim
in
can't
hospital
swim.
survive?
I don't know.
All right, I derailed the ending, so I guess I have to do
No,
it.
yeah, I
now.
got the
think that's
ending.
the rule.
I told people to go and check stuff out and to come here
Oh.
next week later 6:30. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
And remember that we're on Twitch.
Yeah.
That's if you're watching this on Twitch, that's where we are. You just gotta put that in your bookmark bar, and we'll be here next week. And if you're watching on YouTube, probably the same thing, actually.
Yeah.
See, I don't even need to do this. You can take over my job. It's working. You've got the
Yeah.
you've got the ending flow going.
Mhm.
I do. Everyone,
Ken also has a Twitch.
you got it.
I'm gonna be there maybe this Saturday, maybe next. We do stuff on Saturdays at twitch.tv/Mr. Croden. He's the guy who set us up. Or Croden_live. That's my mistake. That's his actual